Hey guys, what's going on? So super excited for another video today where we're going to do a deeper dive into not only securing our X1 Validator, but specifically using the Authority Manager by X1 Console. So what does it actually do? Well, when we set up our X1 Validator, everything lives on the server. If a bad actor decides that they're going to figure out how to get into your server, and they do, well, then you're kind of in a bad position. And so what we're going to do today with Authority Manager is that we're going to take what we call the ID JSON, and we're going to change the withdrawal authority to something on your local machine. Now, in order for us to be able to do this, you will need Ubuntu system locally. And so whenever you see anything that says local or locally, or if I refer to that, that means it's your local machine. Now, I'm on a MacBook. What happens if you're somebody that doesn't have Ubuntu, but you need it? This is where a virtual machine comes into play. Guys, there's a bunch of virtual machines out there. There's a lot of tutorials out there on how to get set up. I'm not going to waste time necessarily figuring that out with you today. But what I do want to show you are a few options. So the first one is Parallels. This is my favorite, although you do have to pay for it. I'm just doing the free trial for demo purposes. A better one, I think, is VirtualBox. VirtualBox is completely free. You can get Ubuntu. Another good one is Multipass. So what I like about Multipass, not only is it free, but it also allows you to, Ubuntu's already on there. So it's for anybody who specifically just wants Ubuntu virtual machine without much thought or having to do it. Whereas VirtualBox, you could have other operating systems as well as Parallel. All right, guys, so that's it on the virtual machine. You will need one, though, if you don't have Ubuntu. All right, let's jump right in. Guys, thanks again for tuning into the live stream yesterday. It was super fun. We actually created an X1 Validator live on the spot, did some troubleshooting. It worked out. So we're going to actually use that same server today, log in, and have some fun with it, and to get Authority Manager set up with the end goal of being to secure our X1 Validator locally so no bad actors can steal any funds. All right, and then I have the tutorial here. It's pretty straightforward. So first and foremost, let's jump right into this. You will need, again, Ubuntu. You need a virtual machine if you don't have Ubuntu already installed on your computer. And then I'm just going to quickly show you how to create one. So what you'll do is when you do get Parallel app, you'll go to File, New. And then down at the bottom here, you'll click on Download Ubuntu Linux, hit Next, and then Download. And then what's that going to do is it's going to install Ubuntu. It's going to use your computer's resources, but then it's going to give you a nice UI, which I'll show you in a second. I already have one set up here that I like. Give me 1 second. Let's pull it up. All right, as you can see, I'm on the trial. We're going to pull this up. Ignore this stuff. Clearly, I was playing around with it. But ultimately, you'll want this ready to go. And I can do a separate video if you guys want on virtual machines. Again, though, there's a ton of resources. Half the battle is getting set up on a virtual machine. But once you are set up, then Authority Manager on X1 console is a breeze. All right, let's jump into it. So we're going to ignore this step. This is, and actually we can do it here if you want. Once you have this set up, you'll open up Terminal on the bottom left here. Click that. Since we are using Ubuntu, I'm on a MacBook. So instead of doing Command-C, Command-V, when I'm specifically on the virtual machine, I'm going to do Control-Shift-V for paste. And then we're going to input the password we had set up. You'll see what I mean when you do get your virtual machine set up. And we'll just get the server, or rather the virtual machine, ready to go. All right. And then now we're going to log into both the local, which we're already on the virtual machine, and then the server as well. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to do SSH admin 2, paste that. All right, so now we are logged into admin 2, which is the server side. This is where you already have your validator set up. And then, of course, again, this is our local. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to get our private keys from the server, and we're going to paste them onto our local. So you might have experienced this already or have seen this already, but what we're going to do on the server is we're going to first find the directory. So I'm going to open up the server here. We're going to find the directory. And it's very simple, guys. We're just going to paste this. As you can see, we're starting with id.json. And then we're going to type in cat space and then paste that output. And here's our private key. And what you're going to do is copy this. And then what I would recommend is going to Notepad or some other note taker. And you want to ensure that, okay, we have id.json, and then you can paste your private key here as well. Now, guys, again, this is for demo purposes. I'm okay sharing my private keys because it's kind of a dummy server, but you wouldn't ever want to share this with anyone. And then what we'll do is we'll just get the private key for each one: identity, vote, and finally, stake. I'm not going to go through each one, but a little trick, you can hit the up arrow, and then it brings it up again, and you can switch it to identity JSON in this case. You can do it again and type in vote. So it's just a quick way to get it. But ultimately, you're going to want to copy paste each one and make sure you know which one's which. All right. Now, ignore this step for now. I think I have to change this. But ultimately, you want to get your Ledger wallet ready. And what I mean by that is, and actually, I'm going to put this at the bottom. So there are two ways you can do this. You can create one, what it's called local.json. That's just like having a wallet on your local machine. You can also connect it with Ledger. Now, Ledger is the best bet, right? You're putting it on the Ledger. That's the safest bet. For the sake of this demo, again, I'm still learning virtual machines and trying to figure out how to get it connected. I'm still troubleshooting. I might do another video where we do it with a Ledger, but for now, we'll do it with local. But it's as simple as plugging it in. You're going to want to log in, or I guess put in your passcode into Ledger. And then what you're going to want to do is make sure Solana is selected. And then from there, it should be able to read. What we have down here is this command. You can copy paste into here, and it should say what your public key is and that it's connected. Again, for demo, I'm just going to do the local.json. All right, so let's go back up. All right, so now for the fun stuff. We're going to clone X1. If you are on a newer version of a MacBook like I am, the M chip, you first have to get Solana installed, unfortunately. I'm not going to get into it, but it was a whole process. If you want me to do another video, I don't know how many of you guys already have Ubuntu on your machines, or if you're using Windows. I think most are using Windows, but if you want me to do another video specifically for MacBook M-series chip users or those with newer MacBooks, comment down below, and I can always do another video specifically for you guys. But for the sake of this, I already got it set up, ready to go. So all we're going to do is go over here. We're going to paste this in. So this would ultimately download. I already have it here. It already exists, but you would see some feedback as to installed. Then we're going to copy this. We're going to paste it here. Awesome. Okay, now for the fun part. Now we're going to, if you recall, we got all the private keys here. Now we're going to take that and put it on our local machine. And how we're going to do that is by typing in, instead of cat, we're going to type in nano, N-A-N-O, and then id.json as the first example. So what we're going to do, let's go back here. We're going to type in nano id.json. And as you can see, I already had pasted my private key in there. And then what we're ultimately going to do is, after you input it, I believe it is Control O, then enter, and then Control X. So this might be, I might just add a couple of, let's see, Control O, enter, and then Control X for exiting. Cool. And then you'll do it again for identity.json, right? Now, again, you're going to have to paste your private key for identity. Make sure you connect each one, correspond each one correctly. And then you'll do, again, Control O, enter, Control X. And then you can hit the up arrow, so on and so forth. So as you can see, we pasted our private keys. We created id.json, and then we put our private keys in there. Awesome. All right, so on local, navigate to X1 console directory, start the console, and run the install. Okay, so ultimately, we're going to start up the, well, first and foremost, this doesn't apply so much here because you had already done this, most likely in the other, when you created, give me 1 second, actually. Let me see if that's true. So what we'll do, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to leave this in here, but you'll paste this in as well. You can type in CD, paste it. All right. Again, I don't know if this is necessary. I'll have to, after this, go back and check. But yeah, then what we're going to do is log in to our X1 console. Oops, give me 1 second. All right, so now we're here. So we have logged in, and now we're going to type in the X1 console. We're going to actually install it. So how we would normally do it if we were on a server, where we do number 10 and then number 1. Do you have existing wallets? Yes, we do, right? We are taking ones, we already inputted it. We're going to type in yes. Have you copied these? Yes, we did copy it. So we're typing that in, and we'll continue. Do you want to continue? Yes. So this should look familiar, right? This is what you did when you created your X1 Validator to begin with. And you'll see most of the same stuff. Don't worry too much about it. You already have your X1 Validator running on the server. Remember, this is on our local machine. And again, all we're doing is, think of it as we're taking our wallets, putting them on a local machine, but then we're creating a local.json, and then that's what's going to be our withdrawal authority in the end. So again, if somebody did get into your server, they wouldn't have the local.json because that's local to your machine. They would actually need to be on your virtual machine in order to make that happen. So we will give that a second to run. I'm not even sure if you necessarily have to wait for this. So what we'll do is we will actually close out of this, and let's log back in to X1. Voila. All right, now for the fun stuff, guys. Finally, the authority manager. We're going to go to that option. We're going to set the withdrawal. And let me just show you. It might be easier to visualize this. We're going to go to number, I think it's 10. Am I missing it? Yep. So number 10, and then number 4 for authority manager. All right, guys. So this is what it should look like. We have our current withdrawal id.json right here. Okay. We are going to, if you notice, you see this withdrawal authority, right? So if we go back here, I believe Now keep in mind, I also may have already set up local. So let's see here. So if I go to number 2, interesting. So it says my withdrawal authority is already, oops, what just happened? I'm curious what this one is. So you guys, I was messing with this the other day, so I'm not quite sure which key this is. So another little trick I learned, this is actually a good time to mess around with this, if I remember where I put it. So we're going to take this Solana account and then ID JSON, and we're going to actually go ahead. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. Oh my goodness, guys. Well, I figured out what the problem was. I actually was on the wrong server. So when I was doing this yesterday, I was on the first server. This doesn't matter to you guys. It's the same process, but I was getting myself confused why they were different public keys. It's because we're on this server. But again, it's the same outcome in the end. So as you can see, this is our ID JSON. And I'll show you what I was talking about a second ago. So let's get out of here. Let's go to 11. All right, so watch this. We're going to go to here at the bottom here. I'm going to take this right here, and we're going to go to paste it in our local. Or I'm sorry, let's go over here. So basically, as you can see, so our ID right here is matching what our other one is as well, which is nice. So what we're going to do, let's open up X1 console again, number 10, authority manager. Okay, so now let's change it to local. So this should match your ID. The current withdrawal is set to ID. So first, what we need to do, so we need to set the withdrawal. Think of this as logging in. So right now, the current withdrawer, or what we're logged into, is id.json. And we're going to change, it's already ready to go, but let's just say we needed to, it needs to ultimately match, right? So like if the withdrawal authority is the ID, which this is my id.json, that means that the current withdrawer needs to be that, right? Like in order for me to change this, I need to be logged into that, if that makes sense. So think of this as just logging in to this. So if this was vote, right? Let's pretend this was vote. Well, that means I would need to, like, I can't change the withdrawal authority from vote if I'm not logged into vote, right? So if this was vote, then I need, and I want to change it, then this needs to be vote. But again, ID JSON, and this is the exact same thing in this situation. So we're logged in. So you would hit number 1, and then you would ultimately make sure you're connected. You would just basically copy this and then change the ID to vote or whatever if it's something else. But by default, it should be id.json, right? And this should match. So now what we're going to do is number 2, we're going to do, oops, and I'm going to have to log back in here. Give me 1 second. And then what we're going to do is now do number 2, the change withdrawal authority. All right, we're going to do all wallets in this case, but you can choose other ones. But let's do all wallets. So number 3, which would you like to give the withdrawal authority to? So this is when you want to make sure your ledger's connected, it's unlocked. Otherwise, it's not going to work. We're going to do local. So number 2 here. So let's do number 2. Now, it says local does not exist. Do you want to create a local wallet on your machine? So we're going to type in yes, we do want to create one. And that's it, guys. I think we should be good to go. So as you can see, our new withdrawal authority is local. Now, to finish this off, because we're not using a ledger, we're going to want to get our private key because we don't want to lose the private key. Like if for whatever reason there's something wrong with the virtual machine, deletes or something, we want to make sure we have those private keys. But before I go to show you how to get the private key one more time, as you can see, we are good to go. So the current withdrawer is id.json, but the only way for us to remove any funds from here is if we switch to the local. So let's go have some fun. I actually haven't tried this yet. Let's see if it works though. Give me 1 second. So I'm going to log in to on the servers now. I want to log into. So remember, we're on the server now. So let's pretend I'm a bad actor. I'm going to hack your funds. So I just logged in. I brute force figured out how to get in. Well, wait a second. What's this? Local.json. So I can't actually go do anything like transfer or remove funds because I'm not set to this local.json. I'm not on your local machine. Now, if this said id.json, then yes, it would have been. But that's it, guys. That's pretty much the exciting part of Authority Manager. This is just one of a few ways. This is probably the best way. And again, what I would recommend is doing this on a ledger. And so going back to this, if you recall, you would have chose number 3 here for ledger. But yeah, you might have to play around with the virtual machine. Again, I had trouble with the virtual machine. It took me a minute. I mean, heck, I couldn't even copy paste at one point. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. If you want me to do other videos, let me know as well. And then to wrap up this video, I know it's a longer one, but very important. Security is huge. I'm going to just real quick remind you guys how we can get our local. I don't know if this actually works. No, we need to find the exact path. So what we'll do is scroll back up here. If you recall, we're going to get this. We're going to go to paste this. It's going to input it, but we don't want ID, obviously. We want local. So we're going to type in cat. We're going to paste this, but then we're going to backspace to get local.json. And there you go. We have our local.json with the private key. It's hooked up, ready to go. I'm trying to think if there's anything else real quick before we go. Let me just show you one more thing. So if you do want to change something, like let's say you start with local. Actually, this is a perfect example. Let's say you start with a local.json, right? That's the authority wallet withdrawal authority. But you now want to switch it to Ledger. Let's say you got your virtual machine working, it hooked up nicely to Ledger, and now you want to transfer it. So what you'll do, console.sh, you'll want to make sure that, let's see, number 10, Authority Manager. You want to make sure, again, that this is switched over to this. So like you'll do, and actually this is a good example, because right now the current withdrawer is id.json, right? But in order to change this, again, we have to be on the local. We have to be logged in to local. So we're going to do, we're going to actually type this in. Give me a second. So we're going to copy this. Then we're going to go change set withdrawal number 1. And then type in the password. We're just going to paste that in. And there you go. Now, as you can see, we're logged in to local.json. And now we can go ahead and switch this by doing number 2. And then we're going to do all wallets. And then we're going to choose number 3. And that's it, guys. Now, I don't have my ledger set up, so it's not going to work. but that's how you would do it. All right, guys, I know this was a long video. If you want me to expand on any of this, comment down below. If you like these videos, make sure to subscribe, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. See ya.